Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf and welcome to another Foundation Friday. In today's Foundation Friday, we have an affordable foundation to review. This one's been around for around about a year everywhere else in the world, but it's only just landed in the UK on Look Fantastic, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. This one is the Revlon Candid Glow Foundation. Now, I didn't like the original Candid foundation. I had really dry skin when I first reviewed that. It clung to every single dry patch. It just went really cakey and didn't look very flattering on my skin. So when they brought out a foundation that was primarily for anybody with a dry skin, I was super excited because this has got some great ingredients in here which will really help to protect your skin against any environmental aggressors, because this has got antioxidants in it and I'm all for that. So if you are new here, hi, my name's Gemma. I upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 PM London time. I'm also on Instagram if you want to check me out over there. It's at Pampered Wolf, all lowercase, no spaces. And I'd really appreciate it if you would consider clicking on that subscribe button and also the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Let's do a little bit of bump on this product and we'll get some on my face. Okay, so you may have noticed it's quite dark in this room, and that's because I've switched the big light off. And the light that illuminates this entire room is right up here above my head. And it blew the other day, so I ordered some new bulbs for it, and I've ordered the wrong ones. They were extremely bright, like really extremely bright. For the last couple of weeks while I've been filming, I've had quite a few issues with the lighting in this room, and they've been casting shadows all over the place. This half of my face was really illuminated, this half was in shadow. So I've chosen to film this video with no big light illuminating the entire room behind me. If you're finding that this is a little bit gloomy and a little bit too dark, do let me know in the comment section. That will really help me out. It's not criticism, it's constructive. So do let me know, because I'll order some bulbs that are slightly dimmer that may cause me a few less problems. But I've chosen to do it this way today because I will be in focus, the rest of the room won't, and I won't have any problems with those pesky shadows. So do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So let's go back to the Revlon Candid Glow. This is £9.99 in the UK. You actually only get 22 mils worth of product, which was a little bit of a shock for me because the standard is 30 mils. So for £9.99, if you want the equivalent cost of a 30 ml tube, it's around about £13.65, give or take a few pence. I bought mine from Look Fantastic, and at the time of filming, Look Fantastic was the only place to get this foundation within the UK. That might be different now. This comes in 16 shades, which wasn't a surprise for me as this is a sheer to medium coveraged foundation, so you would expect it to blend into the skin tone a little bit. However, the shade range is very fair to medium heavy. This could do with a couple of deeper shades to add to the collection. This is supposed to be a long wearing sheer to medium coverage foundation with a dewy finish. It's supposed to be very lightweight on the skin without any cakiness whatsoever. Supposed to even out all of your skin tone absolutely perfectly, and it does include vitamin E in here, which is a great antioxidant which will protect your skin against pollution, blue light, and all the other environmental aggressors that antioxidants protect your skin against. This also contains prickly pear oil to not only nourish your skin throughout the day but also give it that beautiful dewy glow. This is supposed to be ideal for anybody with a dry skin, and it's also suitable for anybody with a sensitive skin as well. This is formulated without parabens, without phthalates, without synthetic dyes, also without fragrances and essential oils, and without alcohol as well. Let's get some of this on my face. Okay, so I've applied all of my skincare as per usual, and I've given that plenty of time to sink into my skin. The only difference is I am not using really rich and emollient creams on my face because this is supposed to be quite a dewy foundation, and I just find that when I wear dewier foundations, I need something a little bit lighter on my skin, otherwise it just slips off throughout the day. So I've applied all of my normal skincare. I've just used a slightly lighter cream over the top. So I'm going to be using the shade 200. I'm going to pump a little bit of this out onto the back of my hand, and I'm going to do half with a brush and half with a sponge as per usual. So let's do this half with a brush to begin with. Okay, so this feels quite cooling on the skin, which is quite a pleasant feeling when it first applies. It's quite a nice coverage, sheer coverage, which again is my preference. We're going to see if it builds a little bit later, but it is quite a nice sheen on the surface. That may dull down a little bit as it dries, but we'll see. Really is not that much coverage at all. I would say at this moment this is very much like applying a tinted moisturiser. It has that effect of evening all your skin tone out without adding very much coverage. I like it. Okay, I'm going to leave that there for now. If you can see, it definitely has evened my skin tone out. So this is the side with and this is the side without. So it's just made everything look a better version of my skin, but without adding too much coverage. I mean, you can still see freckles, you can still see any pigmentation that I have. I do quite like it though. Let's do the other half with a sponge and then we'll try and see if we can get some extra coverage out of this. Okay, so this is very little coverage, and I mean practically zero coverage, especially with a sponge. I think I prefer it with a brush just because you just get that little bit more. Let's see if this is buildable. Let me just apply a little bit more. I only actually applied one pump to my hand, so you know, we'll see how it goes. So I'm just going to apply this where I need it. This is still really, really flattering. Definitely doesn't look heavy at all. Doesn't seem to be adding much more coverage, it's just adding an extra level of dewiness on the surface of the skin, so I'm not quite sure about that. I do like the overall look of this though. Definitely like the overall look. So I'm going to go over again with the sponge on this side and just add a little bit more. The second layer of coverage with the sponge is more like the first layer with the brush. So you can definitely sheer this out even more if you're literally just wanting a lick of foundation on your face. Definitely like this. It is a good colour match for me, but this is definitely sheer. I mean, if you're wanting medium coverage, I think you're going to struggle with medium coverage with this. I think if you do eventually get medium coverage, it's going to be incredibly dewy on the skin and not look natural because of that, because it's going to be overly slick. I do like it though. I do like it. It might sound like I don't, but I definitely do. It's just not what I expected. I expected something that's more foundation-like rather than tinted moisturiser coverage-like, but I definitely like it. It's just a little bit of a shock. I'm going to go and put the rest of my makeup on and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the finished look for today. I really like it. I think this looks very flattering on my skin. It's just evened everything out, but very, very little coverage. If you're one of those people that wants coverage, this is not going to be the foundation for you. I've forgotten how many times I've said this does not give very much coverage in this video, but it's a lot. But it definitely doesn't. It really doesn't. So as you can see, this has just evened everything, given me that beautiful, dewy, youthful glow to the skin, which looks very, very natural and very flattering on my skin. Let me show you this in natural lighting. So as you can see, this hasn't sank into any of my fine lines. It hasn't sank into any of my dryness, those two dry patches around my mouth. It just hasn't clung to those at all. There is a slight patch on my left cheek that is a little bit more evident with this foundation than it was with no foundation, but that's no big deal for me. That's the only area that I think my dryness is a little bit more exaggerated. Nothing on my forehead, everything is still evident. All my freckles, all my imperfections are still poking through this foundation because, again, very little coverage, but I really like the way it looks. I'm keeping all fingers crossed that this is going to be quite long wearing because I need it to be long wearing today. I'm going here, there and everywhere. We're actually going to my dad's a little bit later on because my dad is part of our bubble, so we're allowed to go around to his house. We're going to go over for fish and chips for tea, which I don't think I've had for about a year, so really looking forward to that. So I'm hoping this foundation lasts. I will check in with you a little bit later on and let you know how I'm getting on. See you all in a bit. Hi everybody, welcome back to the check-in. It's now been over 11 hours since I first applied this foundation to my face, and I'm gonna let you be the judge of how well this is actually worn because I think it speaks for itself. So let me show you this in natural lighting. So this is a sheer coverage foundation, so I guess you don't expect it to stay around for this length of time. Firstly, I did not powder this foundation when I first applied it, and after 3 hours you could definitely tell that it needed to be powdered. It started to accentuate my texture and my pores, so I did put a little bit of powder over the surface of this and it mattified it a little bit. It just refined everything. It was much, much more pleasant to look at, and it just increased the longevity of the foundation. I think if I'd not done that, we would have been in a little bit of a mess as of now. So about the 3 hour mark I had to powder this down. Probably wouldn't have had to do that had I powdered it right at the very beginning. Maybe after 6 hours I would have been reaching for the powder, not after 3. But anyway, I digress. So after 11 hours, I definitely think this is still passable, but there are areas that are slightly missing. So there's an area on my chin that has no foundation on it. My face also, around my drier areas, seems to have eaten the oil in this foundation and has just left the pigment on the surface of the skin, but it definitely doesn't look awful. In fact, apart from a patch on my chin that's missing, even though my skin has eaten the oil in this foundation, still relatively even all over my face. And it's been 11 hours, and during that 11 hours it hasn't once tried to sit in any fine lines or wrinkles at all. Yes, it sank into my dryness, but only after my skin's eaten that oil. It did not sink into my dryness on first application, so that's a great positive of this foundation. Now, at the beginning of this video, I did say that I'd only applied a really light cream to my face after my normal skincare routine because I didn't want to overload my skin with nourishment and then this dewy foundation just fall off my skin. If I had applied that nourishing cream, maybe my skin wouldn't have felt it necessary to suck in the oils from this foundation, and it may have lasted a little bit longer and looked a bit nicer for a longer period of time. But having said that, we could have had the opposite effect. This could have gone a lot shinier, a lot quicker. So I really, really like this. I think it still looks really flattering on my skin. My one drawback is that this isn't really buildable. It does say it's from sheer to medium coverage. I definitely don't think you're going to be able to get medium coverage with this. I think for me personally, it's definitely a sheer coverage, and the more I build up, just the more dewier it gets. It doesn't really add very much coverage at all, even with the amount of layers that you apply on top of one another. So I would like it to have the tiniest bit more coverage just to make this a little bit more versatile. This to me is a great tinted moisturizer, not really a great foundation, but I would definitely wear it again. So it definitely has my seal of approval. And I know loads of other YouTubers have had problems with this lasting a long time on their skin, but as you can see, we're at the 11-hour mark and it still looks okay. Yes, it's not perfect, but it still looks okay. So I'm really happy. I really hope you found this video helpful and you've enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed making it for you, and hope to see you all in the next one. Bye everyone.